I disowned my wife's daughter after she chose her mom's affair partner over me. I raised Megan from the time she was 4 years old. Her real dad walked out when she was a baby, and when I married her mom, Lisa, I became the only father figure she ever knew. I taught her to ride a bike, helped with homework every night, and drove her to every soccer practice for 8 years. When she started high school, Megan would introduce me to her friends as her dad, not stepdad. I was so proud. I thought we had this unbreakable bond. I saved up money for her college fund, took her to father-daughter dances, and she even asked me to walk her down the aisle someday. Everything changed last year when Lisa started working late constantly. She got this new job at a marketing company and kept having these client dinners that went until midnight. I started getting suspicious when she bought new clothes and started doing her makeup differently. One night, I followed her to one of these supposed work meetings. She was at a fancy restaurant with her boss Derek, holding hands and kissing across the table. My heart shattered into a million pieces. I'd been married to Lisa for 12 years and she was throwing it all away. I confronted her the next morning. She admitted she'd been seeing Derek for 6 months and that she was in love with him. She said our marriage had been dead for years and that Derek understood her in ways I never could. I asked her to end it and go to counseling, but she said she wanted a divorce. The worst part was telling Megan. She was 17 and getting ready for senior year. I sat her down and explained that her mom and I were splitting up because Lisa was having an affair with her boss. I thought Megan would be upset, but that we'd get through it together. Instead, Megan got angry at me. She said I was probably making it up because I was jealous of her mom's success. When I showed her pictures I'd taken of Lisa and Derek together, she said I was being creepy and controlling for following them around. Then Derek started coming to the house. Lisa would invite him over for dinner while I was packing my stuff to move out. Megan was completely charmed by this guy. He bought her expensive clothes, promised to pay for her college, and told her she could come work at his company someday. 2 weeks before I moved out, Megan came to me and said she'd made her choice. She wanted to stay with her mom and Derek. She said Derek was successful and ambitious while I was just a boring insurance salesman who held her mom back. She told me she appreciated everything I'd done for her growing up, but that Derek was her future now. She said he was going to adopt her legally so she could take his last name and really be part of his family. I felt like someone had ripped my heart out. This kid I'd raised for 13 years was choosing the man who destroyed our family over the only father she'd ever known. I looked at Megan and told her that if she wanted Derek to be her dad, then she was no longer my daughter. I said I wouldn't be paying for her college, wouldn't be at her graduation, and wouldn't walk her down any aisle. Megan started crying and said I was being cruel and that she just wanted everyone to get along, but I was done. I packed the rest of my stuff that night and moved into a tiny apartment across town. Lisa married Derek 6 months later. Megan posted pictures all over social media of Derek walking her down the aisle at their wedding, calling him the best dad ever. She changed her last name to his on Facebook and started calling him Daddy in her posts. That broke me more than the divorce ever did. A year later, everything fell apart for them. Derek's company got investigated for fraud and he lost his job. Turns out he'd been using company money to pay for all those expensive gifts and dinners. He couldn't afford Megan's college anymore and their fancy house got foreclosed on. Lisa called me crying, saying they needed help with money. Megan got on the phone begging me to pay her tuition because Derek had promised he would, but now couldn't. She said she missed me and that I was still her real dad. I told her she'd made her choice when she picked the affair partner over the man who raised her. I said Derek was her father now so he could figure out how to pay for her future. Megan cried and said she was just a kid who got caught up in adult problems. But she wasn't a kid anymore. She was 18 and old enough to live with the consequences of choosing money and gifts over loyalty and love. I hung up and never looked back.